Welcome to part 6 of Competency 5. In this video, we will work with composites of functions or compositions of functions. Number 1, given f of x equals x squared and g of x equals 4x minus 1, express in simplest terms f of g of x. Okay, so this is just a composition, and here's another way to write it. Okay. So this means that we need to put G in F. So if we think of it like this, we would have 4x minus 1 squared because we're replacing it in the x value of f of x. So G goes in F. Anyway, now it may look like to you that C would be the option. Well, obviously, we can't use A, we can't use B, but we can't use C. And for this very reason, it says simplest terms. Not going to work. Okay. So what we need to do is verify D. So what would we have? We would have 4x minus 1 times 4x minus 1. And we should arrive at their conclusion, which would be 16x squared. Well, minus 4x on the inside and the outside minus 4x. Okay, then we have negative 1 times negative 1 is a positive 1. And of course, the center here becomes negative 8x. Therefore, D is verified. Okay, now number 2, we have the same given and the same of f of x and g of x, exactly the same. However, they still want simplest form, but they're flipping. They want g to be on the outside, rather f is in g. So what do? We put a parentheses where the x is on the g of x, and then we put that in. Well, that means we're going to put in f of x. We're going to put in this. So this means we just simply substitute in the f of x into the g, and we look over at our options, and we do have a valid option A. Okay, so we knew that C wouldn't be it because that was for the prior. C was incorrect as simplest forms. D was for the prior one. So it had to be one of these other two. The mistake made on B is that they squared the 4, and that's not what our composition is asking us to do. Okay, number 3, given h of x equals under the radical 8 minus x and k of x equals negative 5x, express the composition h of k of x in simplest form. So this means our k of x will go into our h of x. So if we put our h of x there, we have the radical minus 8, and then in parentheses, we'll put in whatever our k is, okay? Well, our k of x is minus 5x. Well, the negative times the negative, negative and a negative is positive because technically we're multiplying. So what would match? Well, A is not going to work because they left it negative. So that's incorrect. B won't work because they just added the two together. This is a composition, not an addition or subtraction. So that B won't work. C won't work because it's backwards. Okay, so obviously B is our option. Okay, we'll move to the next one. 4. Given h of x equals under the radical, okay, This is just like number 3 that we just did. But the huge difference I see is it says express k h of x. So the composition is the other way around. So what we need is to start with k on the outside. So that's minus 5. And then a parentheses so we can put h of k in the parentheses, which is going to replace, as you see, replaces our x. So under the radical, we have 8 minus x. So let's see what we have. That would be C. Now, we already know that it wouldn't be the items from, or rather D, from the last question. And we knew B was simply adding the two together, so that won't work. Or we could say subtracting the two, however you want to see it. And then A is a different composition and incorrect for this situation. So that won't work. Okay, so it had to be option C. Okay, let's move to the next one. So given f of x equals x to the third plus 6 and g of x equals 2/3 x plus 4, what is the value of the composition f g of -3? Okay, so we're not going to do this by hand. This is where the use of our calculator comes in very handy. We will make one of them designated as your y1 and designate another one as y2. Since f is on the outside and it's our y1, we're going to say y1 on the outside. In parentheses, we will have the y2, and then, because y2's are g of x, we want to have it solved for -3. And that's what you're going to see entered in the calculator. So first, we have to put them in our y1 and y2. So go over, I'm just going to clear this out. And I'm going to say x, caret up 3, arrow over, plus 6. Arrow down, I'm just going to clear the whole thing out. Now I'm going to say alpha y equals, so I can get my fraction. And then I have 2 and 3 as our denominator, arrow all the way over, press X, and then plus a 4. Okay, verify. You have your Y1 correct and your Y2. Yes. Now, this is what we do. We literally need to put it in our platform. Here, I'll show you. We exit out. Now we have our clean place where we can put in our calculations. So you push alpha and trace. This gives you a quick access to those vars you need, that y vars, y variables. So you want y1 first, okay? Now we have a parentheses. We're putting in, oops, let me back. Okay, now let's highlight that. This is what we're putting in, okay? So now I need alpha, trace. I need to arrow down and grab my y sub 2. So, or you could just push 2, okay? Now parentheses again, and now my number, my value, -3, 2 parentheses. Now it looks exactly what we have, like what we have written here. Now push enter. And the value is 14, and it's correct. I've done it by hand. You can do it by hand if you like. However, this is faster, accurate. You could do both on a test to verify. Okay. It's up to you how you want to do this. All right. I love it. It just changed my testing. Once I learned, of course, the teacher's not generally an educator at the high school level, even college, will not show you this. It's fantastic in my opinion. However, let's move on. So now we need to repopulate. It looks like number 6 says, given we have a function 3 over 2x minus 5, and then our k of x is equal to negative x squared plus x. What is the value of g of k of 5? Okay, let's go to our y equals. I'm just going to clear it all out and start over. So alpha, y1, number 1, y equals number 1 is what I want. But this time I have 3 over 2. Arrow over, and I have x minus my 5. Arrow down, clear everything out, and I have a negative. You have to push the negative because it's leading with the negative. So don't use your subtraction. And now you have x, and your x squared is what we want, and then plus x again. Okay, so see how that would be a little bit more dicey. You might do it wrong, and on this one you have 2 places for x. So if you had a composition the other way around with the x on the outside, things could get a little more complicated. Well, don't worry about it. If they asked you that, just use your calculator. It doesn't matter. And I can even show you what it looks like for both because it'll be so simple. Okay, now I have it populated. Double check my entries. Okay, I agree with the entries. Now, go second mode to back out. This is what I do. Okay, and verify. This is my Y1 and this is my Y2. Now let's write it. We want G on the outside. So that's Y1. Oh, that's a crazy looking Y. I could do better. Okay, that means I want my Y1 on the outside, my Y2 on the inside, and then I want my 5 as my number, all being calculated in the middle. Okay, so that tells me that I can, because I have it all with Y1, Y2, and it's all entered correctly, I can just pop up, highlight, and push enter to grab that Y1, Y2 already set up. And now I can just kind of type over. Notice I deleted the negative, and I just typed over the 3 with my 5. And I push enter, and negative 35 is the value. Okay. And that verifies what we have just done. Now, let's try it the other way around. Let's switch this. Let's put 4 grins. I'll change the color. Okay. Let's put Y2, Y1, and then the 5. Okay, we're leaving it at 5. Now, recall what I said. When you flip this composition around and do it the other way with x, g of x of 5, okay, that's what this is. This would be, I'm sorry, k, g of 5. It would be this, okay? So if we put this in the calculator, that's a whole other thing. So let's go alpha trace. Let's do number 2 first. Then our parentheses, alpha trace, and then we want 1. So push enter. Now parentheses 5, close parentheses twice, match them up, press your enter, and that becomes the wrong answer down here. That becomes the one that we didn't want. So what they're trying to do is if you do it by hand and you do it backwards accidentally, you're going to end up with something completely incorrect. So they're trying to fool you. And you can see where the others are slightly off. Okay. This is the last question in this video. And again, thank you for watching, sharing, liking all our videos. And those of you who have subscribed, you're amazing and greatly, greatly appreciate it. You're going to ensure that these videos keep coming in the future. We've got plans to add a lot of good things and even maybe make some corrections and tweaks to prior videos. Happy testing, everybody.